Got another super chat. This one from Rob U, my guy Rob U. Thank you for the super chat, Rob U, who writes, "What up, Lou? Happy belated B-Day." Thank you. Appreciate that. To you, champ. He says, "Happy for Alex Smith, but please tell me we are all in on Dwayne Haskins, and this means nothing moving ahead." That sounds about right. Barring some kind of catastrophe with Dwayne physically or mentally, where he's just not getting it, and we'll just go ahead and knock on some wood. Obviously, the offensive line, yeah, there are some concerns there, especially on that left side, that you got to solidify. But, if he's kept upright, if Dwayne's allowed to do the things that we know he's capable of doing, I don't think this is of any consequence, in terms of Dwayne. He's going to be fine. There isn't a quarterback controversy here. I think that Dwayne Haskins, this is his job, to lose. And whereas in the case of Sadiq Charles, it's his job to win. They're not giving it to him. It's his job to win. But it's available for anybody. But Sadiq's going to get the first opportunity, the first crack to win it. It's his job to win. In the case of the quarterback position, it's Dwayne's job to lose, meaning it's already his job. He's got to go out and fumble it away, all right, for someone else to get an opportunity. So this means nothing. Alex Smith being healthy in terms of what it means right now for the depth chart or any kind of questioning of the quarterback position means nothing. He's not pushing Dwayne. No one on this roster right now is pushing Dwayne Haskins to start. That's my perception of things. I can't speak for any of you out there. I can't speak for this coaching staff. My perception of the way the offseason has been handled, this is Dwayne Haskins' job. They're going to find out if, in fact, 2021's first round pick needs to be spent on a quarterback or not. That's what I think they're looking to evaluate this year. And I don't honestly know if that's fair or not, to be brutally honest with you. I don't even know if that's fair because I don't know. I'm from the school. I'm from an old school where you didn't. Alex Smith is a testament to this. Like he's the greatest prime example of this. Probably the last one that we've had where a guy didn't blossom his first 4 or 5 years in the league. Like literally Alex Smith was on the last year of his rookie deal when he finally started to win, when he got Jim Harbaugh in there. And started to win. Alex Smith was horrible early in his career. He looked like a bust. The 49ers kept trotting him out there, though. That's what you're supposed to do with a quarterback on a rookie deal. Give him every opportunity to prove that he can get it done. But now we're in this microwavable society. And now that, everybody wants it now. They want it now. They put it in the microwave, heat it up. Let's go. If it doesn't heat up and it doesn't taste good, let's get another meal and see if that one's tasty. Like, goddamn, can we at least get a couple forkfuls and see if this thing actually is good? Maybe it tastes better if you let it settle a little bit. Like, Drew Brees wasn't good initially. That's why they drafted Phillip Rivers. Drew Brees, like everybody forgets that Drew Brees wasn't very good early. Go look at his numbers. He had years where he threw more interceptions than he did touchdowns. Like year 3 of Drew Brees in San Diego, he had like 17 touchdowns, 20 interceptions. Yes, Hall of Fame Drew Brees did that. In his 3rd year, like he wasn't very good early on. That's why they drafted Phillip Rivers. It wasn't until Phillip Rivers came along that Drew Brees finally had the light bulb go off. And all of a sudden, he was like playing at a high level. And they had to make a decision. Well, they said, look, we drafted Phillip Rivers. We're going to play the young fella. So, and you messed your shoulder up. So it makes our decision a lot easier. But we don't do that anymore. That's not what we do anymore. If a guy doesn't prove to you in 2 years that he's good, you're ready to wash your hands clean of him. Like Mitchell Trubisky could play his ass off this year. It wouldn't surprise me. But he's got to get an opportunity to do that. And everybody wants to just whisk Mitchell Trubisky out of here and say he's trash. He wasn't trash when he led the Bears to a 10-6 record and won the division 2 years ago. But all of a sudden, he can't play now. He had a rough year last year, and I put a lot of that on his coach. I digress. You see where I'm going with this. I don't think this season should necessarily be the end-all, be-all indictment on Dwayne Haskins if he doesn't play up to the level that we are hoping that he plays. But that may be what happens, unfortunately, because of the way that the culture that we've kind of allowed to really overtake the NFL now, where everyone expects players to just come in and show out and ball out right away, or else they're a bust. Like that's ridiculous to me. But I hope that Dwayne plays well, and we're not having this discussion again next year. I hope we don't even have to talk about the quarterback position. That's been taken care of, and we can start focusing our attention elsewhere. Thank you for the super chat, Rob. To me, Alex Smith isn't impacting the quarterback position in terms of the depth chart right now. So, Miguel Reyes, 17, with the super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat, Miguel Reyes, 17. Greatly appreciate you. Miguel writes, say Skins land themselves the first pick of the draft and Haskins showed improvement and is the least to blame. Do we draft Lawrence or trade out for the farm? If Dwayne plays well and we still somehow, and that's hard to fathom, because if your quarterback plays well, it's hard for you to end up with the first pick in the draft. It really is. You think about all the teams that have had the number one overall pick in the draft, and really there's a direct correlation to the quarterback position. So it's hard. I mean, think about let's just go back the last three drafts, last 3 or 4 drafts. Last year, the Bengals got the number one pick. Look at their quarterback situation. It was a mess last year. All right, Jeff Driscoll started a bunch of games for them last year. Like, they were a mess. All right, you had Andy Dalton getting benched. Not Jeff Driscoll. I think he was 2 years ago. They actually let the young boy from NC State play some games and start some games. Andy Dalton ultimately got back in there, which is because they didn't want to go 0-16. But it was a mess. I said all that to say this. They were a mess quarterback-wise. You go to the year before that, Arizona, absolute train wreck. They traded up in the draft to get the kid out of UCLA. Can't even remember his name, which is a shame because he came in, bunch of fanfare, said that the league messed up and that they were going to regret passing on him. Josh Rosen is his name. And they got rid of him after 1 year. They thought so little of him that they moved on from him after 1 year. And so they were a mess quarterback-wise 2 years ago. 3 years ago, the Browns were the number one overall pick. They took Baker Mayfield. They were an absolute train wreck at quarterback the year prior. And so you see where I'm going with this. And we could continue to go on and on and on. But generally, the team with the number one pick in the draft, either their quarterback got injured and they've got a franchise guy, but he got injured and that derailed their entire season, or they're just terrible at quarterback. It's hard to have a good – if Dwayne goes out, throws for 3,700 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions, you're not going to end up with the number one pick in the draft. It's impossible. The defense would have to essentially be standing on the field but not moving for us to end up with the number one. Because you got to go 2-14 or worse to get the number one pick in the draft. 3-13, usually someone else is going to go 3-13. You're not going to be by yourself 3-13. So, you got to be 2-14 or worse to get the number one pick. We're not going to be 2-14. And I get it. It's a hypothetical that you're posing. But I don't think the two can happen. I don't think the two can coexist. I think one happens, then the other one can't. And so if we had the number one pick, Dwayne didn't play well. He either wasn't healthy or he didn't play well. Okay? If Dwayne plays well, then we can't have the number one pick. I just don't see it happening. But I will go with your hypothetical. I just needed to say that. But I'll go with your hypothetical. If we get the number one pick and Dwayne plays well, you either take the best player available if you can't get out of number one. Look, next year's draft, if there are quarterback needy teams, and there's always quarterback needy teams every year, at least 3 to 5, you're going to be able to get out of number one. Trust me. Someone's going to want Lawrence. Someone's going to want Justin Fields. Someone's going to want one of the big three quarterbacks. Okay, someone's going to want Trey Lance. Someone's going to trade for the number one pick. All right, Trust me, you're going to be able to get out. If quarterback isn't what you desire at number one, you're going to have a way to get out. So to me, that's a no-brainer. If Dwayne isn't the problem and you feel like you've got the right guy, you trade out of that pick and you literally set yourself up to help speed up the process of building this team up, into a perennial powerhouse that much faster. So, but I can't, as I mentioned, I can't see any situation in which Dwayne is good and we end up with the number one pick. It's impossible to me. Simple as that. Anyhow, thank you for the super chat, Miguel Reyes, 17.
Louie.